Hi, you guys. Well, I've been asked, what are some good adoption reads? There's a lot of books about adoption out there, and unfortunately, a lot of them are just crap, full of just negative stories and horror stories, and I think it puts a lot of negativity on the whole world of adoption. So I thought I would do some good reads of adoption. If you really want to know more about adoption, I have some good reads for you. I have read some horrible ones, and I don't have those. I trashed them because I thought those people were idiots. I just really felt like it's unfortunate their take on adoption because they're really missing out. So I like to read little books about adoption and stories about adoption. So one that I really liked is this Chicken Soup for the Adopted Soul. Like I've tore through this book and highlighted some stuff, but it's a really good book. I have read this Conceiving in the Heart. That's a good book about stories about love and adoption and open adoption, closed adoption. And I've read a book called Unsung Lullabies about a woman that struggles with infertility. It's a pretty good book. But my favorite books that I've read of all my adoption books, and I've read a lot, and I've read it actually more than once, and I'm excited because part 2 is coming out, is this book called Open Adoption, Open Heart by Russell Elkins. And this is a book about a husband and wife that struggled many years with infertility, and then they turned to adoption, and they adopted a little boy, and then a couple, almost, not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years later, they adopted their little girl. And it is just an amazing story. It's got, this is the first book, so it's their story about how they got their first son. It starts talking about when they started seeing the doctors and going through the infertility. And I totally related to his wife in this book because it's a lot of those things that I felt, a lot of those things that are hard to make sense of. And it's one of those that it's a very comforting book because women that struggle with infertility feel like that it's almost embarrassing, like they don't talk about it very much. But it was just nice to have it there to just read and feel like I'm not quite so alone in this whole infertility journey. And then it goes on about their process of how it came to be for them to adopt their son. Their birth mom actually came to live with them for a month before the baby was born. So it is just an amazing book. One line that I read in this book that made it my favorite book, I'll read it to you. It was something that I have struggled with for a very long time, but I didn't really quite know how to put my finger on what it was that I was struggling with or how to put it into words. But then I read this line, and it says, "We felt responsible for her happiness because we were the beneficiaries of what was paining her." Wow, it's a powerful line. And when I read that, it's kind of like a light went off, like, that's it. That is why I'm struggling so hard. Because I did struggle with feelings of guilt and feeling like if they're not happy, it's my fault. And I just want to do anything I could to make them happy. And it was just something that was in my head, but it took me reading that and reading how they went through and how they dealt with those same emotions. But it's just a very, very good book. If you're going to be adopting, I would highly recommend it. This is a good window and insight on what's to come. Some of the feelings that you may be going through and how they've processed certain things. And I'm really looking forward to, I think the next one's called Open Adoption, Open Mind. That's their second adoption when they adopted their little girl, kind of the steps and process they went through. And each adoption's different. Like theirs isn't exactly like ours. Everyone's different in their own unique way. But a lot of the feelings that they felt are the same in every adoption. And so if you have any of the slightest interest in adoption, I would highly recommend this book. It's very good. I got this one. I actually contacted the author, and he actually sent me a signed copy. But you can get it on Amazon or Amazon Kindle. I also have a Facebook page called Open Adoption, Open Heart. And so if you're wanting to know more about adoption, or if you are just looking to find a place to go, if you have questions about adoption, it's a very positive, uplifting page that you can visit, and I'm actually an admin on that page. So if you want to check it out, it's Facebook, Open Adoption, Open Heart. Those are my recommends for adoption reads. If Russell sees this, Russell, thank you for writing such an amazing book. Thank you for hitting the nail on the head for some of the feelings. And there was many more lines in there that really stuck out to me, but that one was my favorite one. So yeah, so that's my book review on this and other adoption good reads. So check them out. See ya.